I want to thank a lot Paolo Monosetti. Paolo is an Irish friend, and they are working together now because they are preparing the next Family Business Network Conference in India in October. So thank you, Paolo, and up to you.
Thank you so much, Guido. I guess that we are also connected with a lot of students through this streaming, and I would like also to send our best greetings to the people who are connected online. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having accepted our invitation. This evening, we are going to talk about the Indian family business, and we have a special guest, Harish, and because we can go through his, I would say, growth journey. You have told me that the life is a growth journey, so we can go through his growth journey, and I guess that we can try also to understand what are the similarities and differences with the Italian tradition in the family business. And so let's try to discover a little bit more India and then to understand what we can learn for us. And when we decided the title of this dialogue, that we call it a conversation, so I'm not just an host, you are authorized to raise questions to me and Guido just to open a little bit of dialogue. So when we decided the title is to talk about unconventional choices, because one of the key points in the family business literature is that managing a family business is like managing paradoxes or making unconventional choices, not something that you can say is conventional, that you can read in a book. Sometimes you need to put together the family and the business perspective in order to find the right choice for that moment. Family business itself is a term where there are a paradox, because you have the family and the business together with two different systems. But Harish, I guess that we can start our conversation, and I'm completely sure that our participants are really interested to understand first who you are. And so the first question is, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you, Mr. Corbetta. I'm Harish. From a family business standpoint, I'm fourth generation of the TVS family. We are based out of the city of Madurai in South India. Madurai is, if you imagine the tip of India, about 100 odd kilometers from the southernmost tip, inland. About 110, a little more than 110 years ago, there was one Mr. T.V. Sundaram Iyengar. He lived in the city. He was my great-grandfather. Traditionally, we come from, of course, you know, in the olden days, the caste system and the traditions in India. We are Brahmins, who are basically the priests, the scholars, not from any business background. His father was a lawyer, practicing in the nearby state and also in the city of Madurai. And Mr. Sundaram, T.V. Sundaram, he did not study law, but he went to work for a bank, English-owned bank called the Imperial Bank. It subsequently became the largest bank in India, the state bank. One day he went to his English manager and asked for a leave next week, for a day's leave for some religious function, and the leave got turned down. So that day he came home and told his wife and his mother and everyone that I'm going to become my own boss. I'm not even able to get a day's leave. So everybody said, what do you know about business and why do you want to do? He says, no, I want to become my own boss. So he started first with dealing in timber, because his father had some friends in the business, but he was always enamored with automobiles, because that was new in 1900s. That was the very few and far between in rural South India. And he started a bus service. In the olden days, the buses will park in the middle of the city, and then they will start shouting the name of the destination. They'll wait for the bus to get filled up a bit, and then they'll leave. But from day one, he was the first person I was told whole of India to start a bus to a schedule, whether the bus had one passenger or was empty or whatever. If it was 7 o'clock bus, the bus will leave at 7. To that extent, in small villages in India, in that part of South India, they say that they could set the watch by when the TVS bus arrives. So in that way, he was somebody who wanted to provide right from day one great value and choice to the customers. My grandfather, who was the eldest, joined the business after a few years, and then they found that the buying vehicles or buying parts in those days, everything used to get imported, and when the boat came in, the price was X, and after a few months, when the stocks came low, the prices started going up. So he said, "This is not fair to the customer. So let me start my own